Welcome to the Quick Start Guide for the Live an Empowered Life Now workbook. This is a short video instructing you the easiest way to get started with the book. So some important notes before we get started is to start with an open mind and a willingness to do things differently. We often find ourselves doing the same things again and again in life, and that yields us the same results. And if you picked up this workbook, it means that you want to live your most empowered life and work towards being the most successful, happiest version of yourself. And in order to do that, you need to be willing and open to start doing things and acting a little bit differently, being willing to see things differently. So I just recommend that you approach this book with an open mind. And after having taken more than 100 people through this workbook, I highly recommend you start by reading the chapters and the sections on resistance. And this is simply because there are lots of things that will come up, excuses, distractions, reasons for you to stop working the workbook. And it makes sense in our mind because this workbook is going to help you grow and evolve and shift. You'll start changing some of your habits maybe and working towards these things that may have been previously felt unattainable in your life. You're working towards your vision. And the subconscious mind is designed, it has two jobs, and one of them is to keep you safe. And safe simply means whatever you've done in the past. And again, it's the same old results, get the same old actions, get the same old results, and your subconscious will do everything it possibly can to keep you in those patterns, in those habits. So it will throw up ways that you meet resistance so that you are pulled away from starting this new habit or doing a morning routine. So just read about it. We talk about internal resistance. These are things that come from the inside your mind. External resistance are things that happen outside in your life. But either way, resistance is showing up for each and every one of us every single day. So when you understand how resistance shows up for you, you can be incredibly successful at working with it. I consider it like a dance with resistance instead of fighting against it. For me, I happen to know that when I'm working towards a goal, resistance most commonly shows up for me in two ways, which is going into confusion. I set a goal, but I don't know how to get there. And then the other way it often shows up is I will overcommit and make myself too busy to do the tasks that will actually make a difference getting me towards that goal. In the past, resistance used to show up as me getting sick and things like that. So just understanding how resistance shows up for you will allow you to be more successful in working through this workbook, but also just in your everyday life. And page 42 is one of the most important pages in the entire workbook. This is your tour guide of sorts. It's the workbook checklist. And so it is a list of all of the activities that are in the workbook. So as you do them, you can go back to this page and cross them off. But if you get overwhelmed looking at this page, don't worry. It's designed over 12 weeks that you would finish all of these exercises. I just wanted to highlight this page for you because it is the most important page to reference and come back to you. It's going to take you through the workbook step by step. So in the quick start way to start working with this workbook, there are 5 steps. And I wanted to share that this is great for anyone and everyone who just wants to get started now. But if you opened the workbook and you felt intimidated or overwhelmed, or if anything came up for you except excitement, like I can't wait to dig into this, this is a great place for you to start working. So the first step is read pages 18 to 25. This is sections on consistent compounding action through the end of reflecting on resistance. These are the most important and foundational sections for you to be able to work through these exercises and be successful. Step number 2 is designing your morning routine. This is page 46. If you're kind of against morning routines or if it's not something you have well established, don't worry too much. Just focus on bullet point number 3. Number 3 is all the actions that I recommend doing on the daily focus pages, which is doing a quick visualization of your vision. What is it that you would love? And then writing down your committed and consistent action steps for the day. That's all you need to do for bullet point number 3 in your morning routine. If you want to design a bigger, better morning routine than that, that's fabulous. If you want to come back and do that later, you can do that too. Step number 3 is you plan out your month on page 54. And what you do is on the left-hand side, you write down and brainstorm everything that you could possibly do this month. So no editing, just anything and everything that you could possibly do this month. Then once you have that list built out on the left-hand side, you're going to take it and look at your calendar. What's realistic for me to complete this month? And you're going to transfer those actions to the right-hand side. The list of committed actions are things that no matter what happens this month, you're committed to creating this. So you might consider only listing a handful of items here. It feels really good when you finish your committed list for the week or for the month, and then you go to the brainstorming side and pull more things in. But it feels kind of overwhelming and defeating when you commit to too many things and then don't get them completed. The next step is plan out your week. On page 56, you're going to use your month and basically just look at your monthly committed action list and start saying, out of this, what are the things that I could possibly do this week, and start brainstorming everything you could do this week. When you have your brainstorm list, you're going to go to the right side, which is the committed to create list. Again, looking at your calendar or your schedule, being very mindful of what's realistic for you to complete, because no matter what happens, I do all of those tasks by the end of the week. And then the final step is you work the daily focus pages and just get started. And so what are the daily focus pages? Like, what is the daily focus routine that's recommended? This comes in 3 steps. And the first step is you do a visualization. And you can just think about what you want to create. You could do a visualization on one thing you're manifesting in your life. And I highly recommend, that's where you can get started. Start working towards, when you visualize, what would it feel like to live the life I love and have vibrant health and vitality and be the predominant, powerful, creative force in my life and live my true nature and purpose. And it's a quick visualization. And the good news is you can listen to the recording on the workbook resources page of my website. You have access to the recording that takes you through this part of the page. So you can listen every single day, or you can do self-guided if that's what you prefer. Step number 2 is after you do the visualization, then you write down your action steps for today. On the left-hand side, it's what are you committed to doing? And that's why I limited it to just 5 things, although don't feel pressured to complete all 5 things. I often start my day by writing down the 3 most important tasks I need to do today. Then step number 4, I like to leave as my feminine action. What am I going to do to nourish and support myself and replenish my energy throughout the day? And number 5, I always leave blank because inevitably something will come up along the way during my day that needs my committed attention. So the reason why we have this split up again is on your committed action steps. No matter what happens, I recommend doing these action steps. Like, don't let your head hit the pillow until they're done. And you get to find the way that this works for you. I know plenty of people that are like, I start with 2 and then add them as the day goes along. You'll find a system that works for you. But again, 100% committed in completing these. The next is today I want to do. These are any tasks that it would be nice if you got to today, but it's not urgent and you're not 100% committed to. So things like, oh, it would be great if I did the laundry or made that phone call or whatever it is, always go on the right-hand side for me in the I want to do, because I'm not necessarily committed to doing them exactly today. The final step of your daily focus routine is reflection. And so this can be done actually at night or in the morning. So if it works for you, you can do step 1, the visualization, listening to the recording, and step 2, writing down your action steps, and do that in the morning. And come back at the very end of the day and reflect on these questions. What was I grateful for? What am I proud of or celebrating? What took my attention off my priorities today? Like, what was a sticking point for me? And how can I do a little bit better tomorrow? What is my ideal average day? It talks about what that means in the book, but it's basically saying, in the ideal version of your life, did you live a similar day in that life today? And if it doesn't work for you to complete these questions each night, I actually prefer to do them in the morning. So I do the steps in the order of 3, doing the reflection, then 1, doing the visualization, and 2, completing my action steps. So you get to decide what works for you, which brings me to my next point. The most important thing is you find a way for it to work for you. Once you get in a rhythm of the workbook, you can go back to the other parts. So what you would do is read pages. This is the rest of the reading chapters, pages 9 through 18 and 25 to 41. And then use the workbook checklist on page 42 as your guide to do the remaining exercises on your timeline. I do recommend setting a schedule though, otherwise it'll be really easy to just push it off and push it off. The next thing you know, 12 weeks has gone by and you haven't done any of the exercises. So I recommend booking it in your calendar to do one exercise a week. Or if you feel like you have the time and space, or you're feeling courageous or confident in it, you could sit down and do all of the exercises in one afternoon. That they're designed to be done that way, or to be possible to be done that way. So it's whatever works for you, but just commit to doing the action steps. And the two most important parts is find a way that works for you. You might have a different way than I do. So just work with it, play, experiment, and have fun and find something that works for you. The second most important thing is just be committed to yourself, to doing this workbook and working through it and creating the life you desire. So I hope you enjoyed this quick start guide explaining to you how you can start working through the Live an Empowered Life Now workbook in the easiest, fastest way. If you'd like support working through the workbook, I welcome you to join the Empowered Living membership, a community of people where we work through this workbook together, and I support you every step of the way, releasing resistance and really helping you level up in an accelerated way. If you want more information on that, it's on the workbook resources page. It's also on my page on my website. If you're getting these emails, you'll get little reminders about specials and things that are coming up. I hope you have a fabulous day and take care.